What will you say when Christ appears? Will you stand with confidence or put your hand over your mouth in shame? John's answer is practical. That is, remain in Christ and your life will show it. Belief must become behavior. Hope must shape holiness. That's the gospel in action. John's language in these verses hinges on one Greek verb, meno, translated variously as remain, continue, or abide. When he says what remained in them from the beginning, he means the apostolic truth they once received and believed. When he urges them to continue in him, he points to the lived-out practical consequence of that belief. In short, belief comes first, and behavior follows. The gospel implants a life. That life yields fruit. John uses two interlocked words, belief, that is, remaining, and behavior, that is, continuing, to show how faith is both known and proven. Belief and behavior are like twins, but one comes first. John repeatedly makes the point that genuine knowledge of Christ inevitably produces righteous action. Belief is the starting point. A person receives the testimony about Jesus and is born of God. Behavior then flows from that new life, not as earning salvation, but as evidence of it. Using the twins metaphor, belief is the firstborn, and behavior follows, clutching at its heel. The New Testament writers, Paul, Peter, James, and John, consistently teach this pattern. Namely, the gospel creates a new nature, and that new nature changes desires and conducts. John gives two reasons why belief must manifest in behavior, and both connected to Christ's return. First, confidence at Christ's coming. John says that if we continue in Christ, we will be able to stand with confidence at his coming. Confidence here means boldness and freedom of speech before the Lord. When Christ returns, those who lived in the light will have no reason to be ashamed. Their lives will bear witness to their faith. They will be able to say with Isaiah, "Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him, and he will save us." Conversely, a profession of faith that is not matched by life will embarrass us at the appearing. The image is vivid. A believer whose life contradicts claim will be at a loss for words and judged by the standard they professed. Second, standing unashamed with garments of righteousness. John uses the imagery of clothing to show that righteous living clothes us for the coming of Christ. Revelation's warning, "Keep your garments," echoes here. Namely, sloppy, unrepentant lives expose Christians to shame. Righteous behavior is not performative. It is the Spirit-wrought fruit that adorns us when Jesus appears. In short, right living prepares us to be unveiled before God without disgrace. However, we must beware. We must not reduce Christianity to moralism. The other half of the gospel is new birth. Why do believers act righteously? Because they have been born of God. The new nature given by the Spirit produces new desires and new power to obey, and it is essential to understand this. Ask a non-Christian why he or she behaves decently. Answers may include social convention, conscience, or personal preference. The Christian claims a different root, namely, I do right because I've been born of God. That birth is not moral reformation, but spiritual regeneration. Therefore, our relationship to God has a spiritual dimension. In other words, we are God's children by spiritual birth. John draws the connection explicitly. If you know that he is righteous, you know that everyone who does what is right has been born of him. Here are two linked truths. Jesus is righteous. The child of God does righteous works. The works don't earn sonship, they attest to it.
John then reminds his readers of identity. They are children of God, not because they earned it, but because the Father has lavished his great love on them. This is a gospel of status. God has adopted sinners into his family. The repetition of "children of God" is meant to soothe doubts. Christians often worry whether they truly belong because their conduct falls short. John counters by saying, your status rests on God's free, lavishing love, not on your performance. This is a crucial balance. The gospel gives assurance of status and calls for transformed living. Assurance without holiness becomes license. Holiness without assurance becomes despair. Christian maturity needs both. John goes on to admit that there are mysteries ahead. We do not yet know fully what we shall be when Christ appears. We see darkly now. But here is the secure hope. When Christ appears, we shall be like him. We will share his purity and incorruptible life. The details remain veiled, but the direction is certain. Because we shall be like him, the present demand is clear. Purify yourselves, not by human ingenuity, but by faith empowered by the Spirit. Sanctification is both divine work and human cooperation. We cooperate by confessing sin, turning from it, and living by dependence on the Spirit. John intentionally anchors hope in a person, Jesus, the pure one, so that ethical exhortation is not mere stoicism, but preparation for a glorious encounter. Christian behavior is not a self-help project, it is training for the presence of Christ. Today, ask bluntly, does my life show that I have been born of God? Choose one concrete area to confess and change this week. Tell a trusted Christian friend and ask them to pray and hold you accountable. If you are not yet a child of God, hear John's invitation. Receive the gospel that creates new birth. Trust in Jesus. Be born anew by the Spirit, and begin a life that will stand confidently at Christ's return.